AI, the change is coming so quickly. What I think is really important for people to understand is that the way that we communicate, the way that we access knowledge, and the way that we make decisions are all going to change. What we are moving to is the AI agent space. I did this really cool task the other week where I said to some networking ladies, I said, imagine yourself, you have dropped the children off at school, you are walking along the beach with the dog, you have spoken to your agent on your glasses, and you said to them, these are the tasks that we agreed that we would do today and this week. Let me know if you have any issues doing them. Most of your things are done for you. You've got robots at home cleaning your house, and you're able to do some leisure activities that you enjoy. And then you go and pick up the children and chaos is there again, But we kind of painted the picture about where we're moving to.
Welcome to the latest edition of Adeptus On-Air, and today we have a special guest in Marnie Wills. Marnie is an AI strategist, and this is a huge topic, so thank you for joining the podcast.
Such a pleasure. I'm excited to get into conversation. Hopefully, it will be valuable.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, this is a big topic really around the world, and, no matter what country you're in and what industry you're in, AI has kind of covered everything. Just for starters, tell me how you got involved in the space of artificial intelligence.
Sure. So without going too far back, I started a business 11 years ago. I started a couple of businesses, actually. One is early years physical education, because I'm an ex-PE and science teacher and an international athlete. So sport is a big passion of mine and a big identity of mine. So I left teaching and started my own business teaching young children physical education. And I also started a health and fitness business training amateur athletes, strength and conditioning, personal training type thing. And businesses were going really well. And then obviously COVID hit, right? And both businesses went online. And in particular, my health and fitness business, we progressed and moved to staying online after COVID times. And in that time, I learned a lot about online business. And in particular, I was using a lot of automation tools, and I managed to start using a tool called Jasper AI, which is a copywriting tool, way before ChatGPT even started. And I became quite obsessed, and I became, I guess I just felt a little bit superhuman. Like I could write all this copy and attract all these new clients, and all of a sudden my business was growing. I used the same tools to create a franchise for my early years physical education business as well. And then, by the time ChatGPT had come out, I'd already seen the benefits of automations through Zapier and using some AI tools, at this point mainly Jasper AI. And so I just started on the 30th of November 2022 using ChatGPT and never looked back. I probably use it, 3-4 hours a day. I probably do CPD, learning about AI 3 or 4 hours a day. I'm a mum of 2 little girls. I do a lot of driving around, mum's taxi, so I learn a lot about AI while I'm in the car. So that is how I got into it, mainly running my 2 businesses, and then progressed to middle of last year. And I found myself helping other business owners understand how to use AI tools. And I kind of this year alone have progressed a lot more into kind of the thought leadership of AI and how it's changing industries, and how you can kind of stay ahead, because jobs are going to still be there. It's just that our job descriptions are going to change with AI, and it's a really exciting time to be alive, and it's a really exciting time to think about changes in life and business with AI.
Absolutely. I see the positivity and everything that you really believe in the space, and depending on who you speak to, there's positive thoughts about it, there's negative thoughts about it, and we'll get into all that. You mentioned ChatGPT. That's probably the most, I'd say, mainstream tool right now, if there is a mainstream tool that people would know about, but there's probably a lot of people in our audience that don't know about it. Can you just explain what that software is, what that AI tool is, and just how it can be used?
Yeah, so ChatGPT is known as an LLM, which is a large learning model. There are quite a few out there. Google have Gemini, XAI, which is Twitter. They use Grok. And there's a really popular one called Claude, which is from Anthropic. So they're probably your main ones to start with. They're called LLMs, and the idea is that you're able to use language to prompt. So you communicate with an AI, you give it a role, a task, you say what you would like out, and then it's able to give you an output. ChatGPT is the like army Swiss knife of LLMs. You can do a lot with it. You can insert an image and ask it to assess graphs, PDFs. You can insert videos. You can even create videos and images. You can use something called GPTs, which is basically a trained chatbot. So it might be a trained chatbot on financial planning. And then because it's specific to financial planning, you're then able to chat particularly with that already trained AI model. So there's ChatGPT have a lot of different AI models. They've got 4.1, 03, just as an example of some. And each model have different kind of levels of what you can do. So you can code, like I said, you can create images, you can create videos. LLMs are absolutely amazing and to do almost anything for you if you know how to communicate with it, which is also known as prompt engineering, and also switching your brain from thinking of an LLM or ChatGPT as Google, and instead thinking of it as the smartest thing in the world, of which you could use it to help you be strategic in life and business, as I like to say, rather than just being another Google. I think that's a big kind of mindset shift for a lot of people when they start using AI regularly.
Yeah, I could see that as a hurdle to kind of get over to change your thinking with that. That's a good point with that. Do you think, from a macro vision, do you think we're just scratching the surface with AI? Like, where are we on this evolution? Obviously, we know the timeline. We're pretty young on the timeline, but as far as like what we have now and what's possible, where are we on this kind of evolutionary journey?
Yeah, we are just at the beginning, and it is blowing a lot of people's minds about what they can do, and it's changing a lot of industries already. However, because AI is the technological revolution that is the next one, we've had a lot, from, I mean,
The
take the
internet,
internet
right?
to the internet to the smartphone to social media. The difference with AI is it's changing at such a rapid pace.
Yeah.
So it gets 6.6 times smarter every week, every month. I can't remember the exact stat that I heard, but it is getting smarter and smarter every month. And how I learned AI at the end of 2022 versus how I've learned it in the last 6 months has massively changed. And even, the workshops I was delivering back in June last year to the workshops I was delivering at the end of last year to the workshops I delivered last week completely changed, because the models are so much smarter and can do so much more capability for you. So we're just at the beginning. I think a really good thing for people to think about is I think a really good task I do a lot is, let's have a look at how industries and how life changed for us with the internet. No longer was there yellow pages. Businesses had to change, marketing had to change. Then what happened with the smartphone? I am a self-proclaimed non-techie. AI is not technical at all. I think it's very communication style, and it's very strategic in the way we use it. You don't need to be techie. And I was the person that had the BlackBerry and refused to move to the iPhone for so long. So, but now I can't deal without my iPhone. And, we have 100,000 apps on our phone, and we've had to learn how to use those. It's just taken a little bit of time to do that, whereas AI is progressing at such a fast rate. And then how I used Facebook in 2008 versus how I used Facebook yesterday is so different, but that is like a big change in how you're using it. Whereas AI, the change is coming so quickly. What I think is really important for people to understand is that the way that we communicate, the way that we access knowledge, and the way that we make decisions are all going to change.
Yeah.
They have started to change, but they really will change in the next 12 to 18 months. We're going to see rapid adoption for many, many people and industries. And I think what we are moving to is the AI agent space. So I did this really cool task the other week where I said to some networking ladies, I said, imagine yourself, you have dropped the children off at school, you are walking along the beach with the dog, you have spoken to your agent on your glasses, and you said to them, these are the tasks that we agreed that we would do today and this week. Let me know if you have any issues doing them. And then you enjoy your walk. Maybe you learn something new. Maybe you're, doing some type of walking meditation. Maybe you're talking to somebody, because we're going to have so much more time to bring back human connection. And then your day, you go on lunch again, you check in with your agent, most of your things are done for you, you've got robots at home cleaning your house, and you're able to do some leisure activities that you enjoy, and and then you go and pick up the children and chaos is there again. But we kind of painted a picture about where we're moving to. And Bill Gates recently also was in an article, I believe, that he said he thinks we're moving to a 2-day work week. That is how much AI will change our workflows.
Wow, that's amazing to think about that. And are we? You think we're like 1 year away? No, maybe not 1 year. 5 years away from that? 10 years away from that? 3 years away from that? Like, how far, in your estimation, are we from that kind of vision?
Well, I'm not a visionary, but I do obviously are completely obsessed with all things AI, and I listen to a lot of thought leaders in the space. We're maximum 5 years away from that, I believe, 2030. But there is I don't know if they're a council or if they put a white paper together, but then it's called the AI 2027, and it's about kind of being there by 2027. And depending on which AI expert you talk to, will depend on where we are with agentic AI and assistants running, and being able to almost create their own processes. But where we are just in the last 3 months, AI has been able to create their own code and check their own code, and they've been able to, the robotics has massively jumped, and your voice agents are able to interact with you and talk back. I mean, you could have an AI agent on this podcast just now, and it would have its own thinking and be able to talk back and interact with you. So
Wow.
we've progressed a really long way in the last 6 months alone, let alone what the next 6 months is going to look like.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I mean, the possibilities are limitless. Uh, Government regulation. What's your thoughts on that? Should they completely stay out of it? Should they, protect some things? Should they be very heavily regulated? How far is too far? Whereas, I mean, you could take it wherever you want to take it with it. But what are your thoughts on government regulation?
And
And this is a worldwide thing, right? It's not just England or the
yeah,
U.S. or.
yeah. I think that's a really tough question for me because I am one of those very optimistic, shiny object type entrepreneur who only sees the positive in everything. And when I'm needing to get a bit more grounded, and maybe, I've had to work with some clients recently where we're looking at data security and privacy, I have to get another expert on board because I'm very blasé about it. I'm like, oh, give it everything. I'm like, my 7-year-old, she needs the AI to be this, to have as much human um, domain expertise as possible. And what I mean by that is the AI is created on all of the information available to humans, all wrapped up in its one training data. We as humans have our own domain expertise, don't we? We are, knowledge, experience, perspective on life, all of that. We individually have that. And my opinion is we have to keep feeding the AI all of that information so that it can start to adapt and work with us. And I don't want my 7-year-old in 10 years time, to have AIs that just don't have that human empathy, that human connection, that human way that we like to be. And I think it's really important that we keep adding to that. So I guess I'm very optimistic, and I don't have much political views. But what I will say is that I think the more a society we push the leaders from the countries, but also the leaders in these big players like OpenAI, Sam Altman, your Google CEO, your Anthropics, Elon Musk, Grok, the more we push them to be really transparent about what to expect with the AI, how um, they're adding safety precautions, because there are definitely risks to using AI. If you can get any knowledge that you want, who knows what people are going to do with that knowledge? So we definitely need security um, in place, and I just think we need those big companies to be working with government leaders so that there is almost like a match up, like the governments aren't holding these guys back, but these guys are helping push the governments to where we need to go. And
Yeah.
we are going to get to a point where power. I mean, the data centers, the water that it uses, the jobs displacement and the changing of industries we are heading for a massive shift. And depending on who you talk to and what perspective they have, that is a pro and a con. But, just like the internet, it was pros and cons, just like our smartphones, which have completely changed the way we do life, pros and cons. Social media, pros and cons. Businesses are made, businesses are lost, people's wealth changes. Yeah, I'm not sure I answered that question
No, it's very good,
very
very good.
well, but yeah.
No, that's very good insight. And you touched on, I guess, my biggest concern is that all these AI companies are competing against each other and they're racing against each other. And so they're moving up so fast, not thinking about slowing down, not thinking about safety concerns, not thinking about, like you said, children, certain things. And because they're so competitive and they're trying to get to be that first $1 billion, $1 trillion AI company, they're not necessarily thinking about some of the things that you had mentioned, some of the concerns. And so maybe that's the government's job. I don't know whose job it
Mm.
is in this race to be the biggest and the first, AI. But they're all, like you said, in a matter of 3 months, just making huge jumps, and no one's slowing down. Basically, no one's slowing down unless maybe someone tells them to. So it'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely scary. And I think, my perspective on it is control the controllables and leverage what you can leverage.
Yeah,
Um, and that's how I like to work in life and business.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned potential job displacement. Pretty much a guarantee it's going to happen. It's already happening in some, in some areas. What areas do you think are most vulnerable? I guess, and if you want to answer what areas you think are least vulnerable, but I guess it's more easier to answer what areas you think could be, knowing the technology, what areas you think can be replaced sooner than later.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I had that question not that long ago, and actually my perspective's changed a little bit. Um, I think your general administration tasks and kind of the roles within admin and sales and marketing. Um, I think the jobs are still going to be there. They're just going to look really, really different. So, I don't think your salespeople are going to be getting on the phone like they are, but they're going to be potentially training the agents to, you know, have the data it needs to answer the questions, and then people are going to really want to value that human connection when they do get on a call with somebody, and it's almost like it'll be more valued and there'll be much better human connection there. So I think I don't know if the roles are going all together, they're just changing completely. Like, just some examples that I know of is lawyers, their
Yeah.
jobs are becoming, they're able to do their jobs much, much faster. Their jobs used to be,
Oh man.
endless
Yeah.
paperwork. Now you can put it into an AI, it can elaborate it for you, go back and forward, add your domain expertise as the expert, and then bang, whether you still pay the same, whether you still charge the same for that, that will depend on how the industry decides it will go. But yeah, what we do there will massively change. I think expertise, like a high-end expertise, like doctors and medical. AIs are doing a lot for them. I was on a panel with a Chelsea hospital in London, the head dermatologist. She's running the AI program there, where they have an AI machine that looks at skin and tries to predict cancerous cells and things like that. It recorded an 82% success rate versus the doctor at 64%
Wow.
success rate. So
Wow.
less dermatology doctors is just one example, less anesthesiologists, because the machine will be making those decisions for you. You're still going to need to be there. Your job will just look a little bit different. You might not need them. At the moment, I don't think your plumbers are going to be replaced. I don't think your gardeners are going to be replaced just yet. So kind of the more hands-on. But I think a lot of jobs will be created. Like, if we think about social media world, when social media hit, I mean, how many jobs have been created due to social media? You've
Yeah.
got influencers, you've got mental health, coaches, you've got social media marketing. Like, I think we're in for the change, but I do honestly believe if we can adapt and have a real growth mindset about what our job does now, how you can make it better and more efficient with AI, and then where the industry is changing. So if you have that growth mindset, and then you have that abundance mindset of like opportunity, look for the opportunity, be really open for the opportunity, because back in 2010 when the app world went crazy, do you know how many people made money from making apps that solved problems? It's the same in AI.
It's true. That's true. And no, that makes sense. Um, I read from your bio that you want to make AI fun and practical. That, and those aren't the first two words that come to mind for most people. It might come intimidating, uh, you know, outlook to the future, whatever thoughts come to mind when they think of AI. But just tell us about that. Your goals to make it fun and practical, and I guess less intimidating.
Yeah. Well, I love um, I guess what I love is the concept of having AI strategically as your thinking buddy, as your therapist, as my parenting coach, as my leadership, strategist. I like the fact that I almost feel supported in for me as a leader in all aspects of my life. Like I feel very supported, and I feel like I've really stepped up after using AI into this next version of myself. And the reason I say that that's fun and practical is because I have this sticky note that's on everything around my house that says, "Can AI do this with you? Can AI do this?" And I always say with you. I don't say for you. I say with you. Can AI make this more fun? Like my daughter and I, we went to Rome in February. She loves Roman history, and we had AI do all of our tour guide, and then she made a website about it, and it was fun, and it was super creative. Like it brings out the creative juices in us, and all because it was like, well, let's just see, can AI help us do that, or what can it do for us? Just yesterday, a lady I'm working with, a company, she wanted to move into sustainability consultancy. I was like, okay, well, let's see how far AI can take us in that startup, from deep research, competitive analysis, to creating her brand, to creating her website, to creating her strategy, to adding just having fun creating this business. And we did it in 3 hours. Just like not
That would
not
take months.
overwhelming.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's not overwhelming. It's literally just like, let's have fun with this. What's the worst that's going to happen? We don't like it. Well, guess what? You just say to your AI model, "Oh, this is a bit rubbish. Actually, it doesn't really suit me. Let's try again."
yeah.
Like that's kind of like fun and practical. I've got, I have a recipe AI which looks in. I take a picture of my fridge and say, "Create me a meal for this for tonight for my
Wow.
fussy children." Like that's fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
wow, that's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah, making it, and when you say practical, those are like practical things that you can just implement, and you could kind of pick the voids where you feel you need the most help, and everybody's a little different. Yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting. That's eye opening. With that, what are your thoughts on? I guess naysayers will say more AI equals less human connection. Just what are your thoughts on that as far as the I guess, and human connection?
My perspective is I completely disagree. I have come from a kind of a bit of a hustle culture since starting my business 11 years ago, where I am addicted to my phone. Like completely addicted to my phone. Everything. I could run a whole business or do my whole life by my phone, which means it's connected to me all the time. Does that mean I'm always present? Absolutely not. Does that mean sometimes I'm um, talking to my 28 AI assistants more than I'm talking to my best friends on WhatsApp? Yeah, probably. But does that mean that I could? Where I think we're going is we're moving away from using this. We're going to have AI agents that do a lot of our admin and general life tasks for us, that we won't need to be connected to this, and therefore we we will get to a point where we're going to crave human connection, and we're going to crave leisure time. So for anyone, um, in an industry related to human connection, whether that be, creating communities, whether that be teaching or learning a new hobby. I mean, that is where people are going to be going. That's where people are going to be doing their leisure time. If we move to a 2 or 3 week in working day, people, how are they going to fill their leisure time? Well, we've always generally as a human population wanted to still have purpose and still make an impact. So we're going to be able to do that with more time and more resources. And we're going to be doing that with real people because we're going to value being around people more. Whereas the children, the Gen Zs, they've grown up communicating via social media platforms.
Yeah.
I don't. My children are alpha. I think it's the next generation, 3 and 7. I really hope that they don't communicate on social media channels. I would rather them have agents that help them, with life admin work and just generally be there to and fro and get back to being present with each other, enjoying activities that is, leisure time.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good point. That's a good point. So I have two kids too. Mine are 6 and 8, and yeah, I'm very leery of social media, so we're keeping them away from that as long as possible. But by then, maybe AI, by then that time maybe develop to the point where it makes sense for us. Wow, that's interesting. Just what are your thoughts on your business in terms of what you do and going forward with AI kind of developing so rapidly? What do you see and say in the next 2 to 3 years? In terms of AI and your business specifically.
Yeah. So um, I think, well, to be honest, for the first time in business planning, I haven't planned past 2 years. I normally do a 3 and a 5 year plan, and I haven't because the landscape and the industries are changing so massively. Um, so I've only done a 2 year plan, and for me, I know that where I believe people are going to get the most use of AI is by having their own AI model. So at the moment, we use ChatGPT. I use Claude a lot. I use Perplexity, which is an amazing tool. And, without overwhelming, I have a lot of other AI tools that I use as well, because I'm kind of at that point where I like to experiment and try and use different things. But we are going to get to the point where we are going to want to use a lot of AI tools, and we're going to want them all in one model. And we're starting to progress there. There's quite a lot of new tools coming out there. Like, just as an example, there's something called Abacus AI, and you can link to 21 AI models. You can have Abacus create websites, create slides. You can have it talk to it like you would normally talk to ChatGPT. It comes up in the chat. And that's where we're moving in the next 12 to 18 months, would be for people and businesses to have their own AI model. One, because the data is secure and you own the data. And also, if it's your own like white label that you've created, because we're moving into AI agents, I think data is going to be quite lucrative and maybe even worth something. So if I wanted to create my own AI agents, if I have my own AI model and I'm not just talking to ChatGPT and they're keeping my training data, when
Yeah.
it comes time to be training agents, I've got all of my discussions there. I've got all of the information that I need about myself, my businesses, my clients. It's all in there, ready to train an agent. So yeah, I'm not moving past 2 years in this very fast-paced, changing industry. But where I'm moving to is being able to serve my clients by building their own AI models.
No, that makes sense because I mean, if you look at companies like Meta and all these stuff, they made billions, maybe trillions over time through acquiring data. And so, yeah, if everyone's putting different data into these models, that's benefiting, those
Mm-hmm.
companies. So yeah, that, that
Mm-hmm.
makes that makes sense. That's interesting. But you have to put data into those models for them to learn and for them to help you. So
Yes, or you can white label a model that you have access and control to, because you can't get the data off a chat GPT. You can ask it for a bit of memory, but you can't get the data. Whereas if you have a white label, so there's a lot of platforms out there. My go-to is Launch Lemonade, and I've created a whole lot of AI models. My business, sportyminis.ai, is one. I have a business that I'm working with called Plank. So we've got Plank AI. About to start with an interior designer who has their own interior design AI model. Um, they've white labeled it, so it's the platform's called Launch Lemonade, but they create their AI model in there. They've got access to all the AI assistants, all the AI models, and because they own that, one, their clients can use it, but they also can extract any of that data from there.
Got you. Got you. Interesting. Interesting. And just a personal question for you: how many businesses do you have going simultaneously? Just I mean, you've kind of alluded to a couple of them. Just tell me what you have
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, so I've only got two now.
Okay.
I exited my health and fitness business April last year. That's when I basically started getting into more AI, and I transformed my sport. It's called Sporty Mini, so it's an early years physical education business. So I transformed that into business partnerships. So I moved away from franchising and moved into selling business partners. So for all regions throughout the UK, I partner up with somebody. They pay a buy-in, like a license, and then we go and set up ourselves. And my businesses is run by the business partners, and I just do the strategic at the top and build all the AI tools to make it happen. And I mean, it's a bit of a legacy. It's a bit of a it's my baby. I mean, it's I don't teach anymore, but I used to teach, and I still, again, a big value of mine is creating opportunities, and I create opportunities for other ambitious and sports coaches to have their own business, but also to make an impact and teach children how to get active, confident, and love all things sports from an early age, which is a massive mission of mine, and it's always been a passion.
That's
And then
awesome.
AI. And then AI. I help business
Yeah.
owners, master AI without overwhelm, build their own proprietary AI models, and just generally become thought leaders of their industry with the change in what the landscape looks like thanks to AI.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Marty, just tell the audience where we can find your social channels, where we can find you online, website, social channels.
Yeah, so I hang out on LinkedIn a lot. So Marnie Wills on LinkedIn, and then Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's business with AI strategist.
Awesome, Marnie. Thanks as always, Marnie. This was an awesome conversation and very, very enlightening on the good. I guess maybe a little bit of concern on AI, but mostly good, and just all the things that's going. I mean, we could really have this conversation, I don't know, 4 or 5 months from now, and it would be like completely different in terms of all the things that will develop in the next few months. So thanks for keeping us up to speed, Marnie, and thanks for joining Adeptus On-Air.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On-Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. The views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.